Richard, what's more important in some sense, if you had a choice, which is to explain science or destroy religion?
Welcome, everyone, to Deist Reality. These so-called unbelievers are believers. They're just in denial of what they believe on matters of God. Richard Dawkins and some of these other high-end active atheists aren't destroying religion. They're recreating a reverse mirror image of the faiths they despise, and in the process eliminating the sacredness of the great cause that started the effects, which is at the heart of all of our sciences. In place of these provable, faulty faiths, or Abrahamic faiths, these active atheists are creating a faith that could possibly be as dangerous for the collective whole of society. These active atheists are creating a religion of denial that propagates a God that isn't. They do this like any Abrahamic faith that pushes their no-God agenda in hopes of grouping like-minded believers together. Like any religion, they have a logo, books they believe to be truth, key charismatic leaders. They ask for donations to help promote this no-God theory. They rally faithfully, like any church does, with one epistemology on matters of God in mind. Absolutely no God. They seek out key leaders who have left these Abrahamic faiths and pay them to spread the good news that's all about this God that doesn't exist. Of course, atheism is a religion, and it's a faith either way you define the word. And like any Abrahamic faith that can be proved wrong through science, so too can atheism, as most of these active atheists understand this word as no God. We come from something, and whatever this something is that the billions of us rightly honor with the sacred title of God, it must exist, because all of life is here to prove it. Actively denying life for evidence of a first cause that mankind calls God doesn't prove your no-God theory, and if you're going to evangelize this God that doesn't exist like some kind of a truth, burden of proof is just as much yours as it is for anybody who's trying to prove God. If all of life wasn't here, then just maybe today's active atheists would have a leg to stand on with their no-God dogma. Of course, there wouldn't be a conscious mind to perceive this no-God faith or theory of theirs. In all truth, all active atheists are agnostics, defending the faith called atheism. I've yet to have one active atheist deny this. And they do this with the same evangelical zealot zeal or attitude that again mirror the Abrahamic faiths they despise. Thomas Paine wrote The Age of Reason to stop the spread of atheism and all of its forms. Most active atheists won't admit this, but they certainly can't deny it. Mr. Paine said, "It is necessary to the happiness of man that he be mentally faithful to himself. Infidelity does not consist in believing or in disbelieving. It consists in professing to believe what he does not believe." If you're agnostic about God, then why are these active atheists pushing atheism? You're professing to believe one thing, but you're promoting something entirely different. It is impossible to calculate the moral mischief, if I may so express it, that mental lying has produced in society. When a man has so far corrupted and prostituted the chastity of his mind as to subscribe his professional belief to things he does not believe, he prepares himself for the commission of every other crime. He takes up the trade of a priest for the sake of gain, and in order to qualify himself for that trade, he begins with a perjury. Can we conceive anything more destructive to morality than this? That quote is just as much about active atheists as it is with anybody from the Abrahamic faiths. Soon after I had published the pamphlet Common Sense in America, I saw the exceeding probability that a revolution in the system of government would be followed by a revolution in the system of religion. You active atheists are missing this revolution in the system of religion that Mr. Paine is talking about. You're replacing it with your own revolution in the system of religion, and again, you're creating a religion of denial that's all about another God that doesn't exist. People who have a deep love for this power or the sacred source of all life and things can't join you, as your provable faulty faith is disrespectful at its core. You can't see or understand this disrespect because you don't believe the cause that started the effect has any intelligence, sacredness, or any metaphysical tangibility. Your faith blinds you on matters of God because you seem to only see God from the fanatical Abrahamic point of view. The adulterous connection of church and state, wherever it had taken place, whether Jewish, Christian, or Turkish, had so effectively prohibited by pains and penalties every discussion upon established creeds and upon first principles of religion that until the system of government should be changed, those subjects could not be brought fairly and openly before the world, but that whenever this should be done, a revolution in the system of religion would follow. human invention and priestcraft would be detected, and man would return to the pure, unmixed, unadulterated belief of one God and no more. Your atheism, Richard Dawkins, and the like, is the human invention Mr. Paine is talking about. Agnostics defending and promoting the faith called atheism certainly is not the revolution in the system of religion that was on Thomas Paine's mind. Your faith is right up there with the priestcraft we are now free to detect. You are so mad at these Abrahamic faiths that you've lost the divine gift of reason on the matter.
I think what these two men are doing out there, promoting a scientific worldview, is something of great value.
Again, you're denying the cornerstone that all our sciences come from, a sacred title. And in the process, you're creating and promoting what you call a non-religion that most certainly is all about religion. Do you active atheists really believe that it would be a better world to think only in Darwinistic terms? The physical and intellectually strong survive, or survival of the fittest is at the heart of your no-God dogma, or so-called non-religion. Life for the collective whole could really change with this faith, and in my opinion, not for the better if this so-called non-religion, no-God theory really took hold. There's good reason why Mr. Paine tried to stop this potentially dangerous path called atheism, and this world hero was right about a lot of things. What would be wrong, my atheist brothers and sisters, in a world thinking like Thomas Paine when he said, "It has been the errors of the schools to teach astronomy and all the other sciences and subjects of natural philosophy as accomplishments only, whereas they should be taught theologically or with reverence to the being who is the author of them. For all the principles of science are of divine origin. Man cannot make or invent or contrive principles. He can only discover them, and he ought to look through the discovery to the author." You atheists certainly don't have the market on science when you actively eliminate the sacredness of the great cause that started the effect. The love most of you have for the effect, life, nature, and the universe, for some reason you must never apply to the cause. Why is that when you know that these attributes, these manifestations, come from something?
Science is wonderful. Science is beautiful. Religion is not wonderful. It's not beautiful. It gets in the way.
You active atheists don't realize that when you give yourselves the title of atheist, like any person with matters of faith on God, you're giving away your own faith, theory, or what you trust to be true on what this force is or isn't. You're saying this something that we call God is not about intelligence, when all of your knowledge comes indirectly from this power. You tell the world that God is a delusion, when all of life is here to prove otherwise. You say God isn't great, when you're blessed to be here and you are continually being sustained by this force or power that we call God. You say the end of faith and a belief in God, when you know good and well you have your own thoughts and theories on what this force, power, energy that brought all of life into existence is or isn't, does and doesn't do. Interesting that you see no reason to believe in God, but you see a reason to believe, preach, and teach your theory of no God. Again, you only push this no God till cornered. Then you become your true infidel selves of agnostics who are somehow slaves to this no God thought. God is important to all self-professed active atheists. She's so important that you give yourselves the title of atheist because it helps you faithfully unite like any religion does on matters of God. You say that you don't care about the God concept, but your actions clearly speak otherwise. Again, your faith is all about denial. If you can't recognize it, then why actively, sometimes forcibly, deny its existence when in all truth you can't say one way or the other if it is or it isn't?
What a disgusting idea. I'm not saying this is the way it is, you better believe it or else.
Sure you're not, Mr. Dawkins. One need only Google Richard Dawkins on Antony Flew to get a clear sense of your own atheistic zealot, non-faith, non-religion, no-God agenda. How Antony Flew becomes less intelligent because in the end he believed as Thomas Paine on matters of God after years of spreading your faith of atheism. You were strident when your cohort left the faith and was able to break free from your faulty no-God dogma. You are one of the key creators and founders of this new revolution in the system of religion, and desecrating a person's character is the least of your moral mischiefs. The sad thing is, like the leading Abrahamic evangelicals that you mirror, you have no clue of the potential harm you are doing to society when you promote your atheism or your own thoughts of what God is or isn't, does and doesn't do. In the end, you'll be ranked right up there with the rest of them as another leader who imposed their faulty faiths on the world. Like all Abrahamic faiths, you and all your active followers are deterring mankind from the true path of understanding the infinite that could potentially eliminate all of our religious woes.
And that's the point about beliefs. They don't change the facts. Facts, if you're rational, should change your beliefs.
Yes, and the facts are that we come from something that defies space and what we call time, and making it metaphysical or supernatural. The facts are we all have our own faiths, theories on what this force is or isn't. The titles that we give ourselves on matters of God give us a glimpse on these individual faiths of ours. Atheism is no different. We can, do, and will unite under God, but we must understand that our individual faiths or theories should only be as important as the truths that they may unfold. The facts are that the God concept is a scientific study, and science is a form of theology. Logos, mythos, reason, and mythology, truth, faith, and theories can and do go hand in hand with the scientific method. Know that I too am an active atheist in the true sense of the word, as I actively deny the Abrahamic faith's theism, their interpretations of these revelations or truths found in these sacred books. I deny them all in the same manner as I deny your no God stance. Instead of educating these Abrahamic faiths that clearly go against the laws of nature and, like you, socially, spiritually segregate society on matters of God, you active atheists attack the God concept as a whole, and in return you push a faith that is equally as nonsensical. Again, all of life comes from something. This is a big-time sin that needs reconciliation, as you're missing the mark and falling short from the glory of God, which is absolute truth. With this no-God agenda of yours, another dangerous faith and religion emerges, ensuring that religious wars will continue. To the Abrahamic faiths, as I've said, you're the key reason why atheism is in the first place and why it continually grows. In a society where information can be gained by the click of a button, the youth and the faithfully trapped on matters of God are comparing your sacred books with information gained on the net. Your interpretations of ancient linguistics can't possibly compare with the divine laws found in nature, life, true theology, God's true revelations, or true theism. Life is the pure deist's sacred text, metaphorically speaking. These divine laws of nature we conscious beings depend on for absolutes, and you people from the Abrahamic faiths taint these absolutes with your own provable faulty faiths that go against these laws. You people, all atheists in some way, wrongfully figure if the gods of these books are provably wrong, then there must be no God. And here's where these consciously dead on matters of God active atheists with their no God agenda come into play with their own, equally as provable, faulty faith that again are totally about denial on so many levels. Starting, of course, with the very title that unites them all. Of course it's all about God. It's their personal non-faith that's totally about faith, that they hope to unite others in a non-religious way that's totally about religion. They faithfully preach a no-God theory in a religious manner like some kind of a truth, and they deny that they do. For all you faulty faiths that push this no-God concept, there's another way. Read and study Thomas Paine, as he'll enlighten you on what the proper path of understanding is and what true religion is all about. A religion philosophy that's in complete harmony with science and reason.
But if you confront a belief they have and show them immediately that they can see for themselves it's crazy, then they remember it.
I hope all of this will show you why your own faith of atheism is crazy. And if it doesn't, maybe Thomas Paine's writings can help you break free from this nasty fog of faith that clouds your reasoning skills on matters of this divine spark that brought all of life into existence. If you still don't get it, then at the very least you'll have an understanding of why any faulty faith on matters of God have a hard time freeing themselves from their own no-God dogmas, especially when there's money to be gained. And there's money to be gained with atheism. You leading atheists know this. Even though atheism is all about nothing, they don't proselytize this faith for nothing. Let's talk real soon about the realities of deism as Thomas Paine understands it, and how this rational mindset on matters of God can eliminate these dangerous, faulty faiths that breed this equally dangerous faith called atheism. In the end, one is no different than the other, as they all preach and teach about a God that doesn't exist. Again, they do this in hopes of grouping like-minded believers under their no-God dogmas. If this isn't religion, then what is? This video, like all others before it, aren't about making enemies. They're about making friends, and friends tell each other the truth. That's all I have to say for now. God bless. Over and out.
That's what I get from these guys. The permission to question everything.